Hi there, Sue Viskovich here with another Moment with Sue, and today I'm with the lovely Marisa Broome. Now Marisa, you were speaking at an event this morning. In what capacity?
I'm here in Perth as the chair of the Financial Planning Association. Something I'm very proud of, very humbled to be here. And I'm here to actually listen to members as much as talk to members about what we're doing at the FPA.
Absolutely, and I highly recommend if you haven't been to the event yet, they're going around, there's 33 of them around the country.
Yes.
Yes, so get yourself to one. But what I love especially about Marisa, and I think it's quite a consistent theme with the FPA, is that the chair of the FPA is always a practitioner member. Marisa runs a really great business in Sydney. Now, one of the things I wanted to grab you about that you mentioned in your session, we know at the moment there's going to be greater scrutiny on the sole purpose test around superannuation.
Certainly.
So a lot of advisors will have their clients pay their advice fees out of super. But there's probably going to be a lot more scrutiny around that coming up. And you had some good thoughts around that and certainly some experience yourself.
So I am a fee-for-service practice. I only ever have operated that way, and so it's been a bit of a trial and error for me about working out which is the best way to charge a client. Became a bit of an issue when I had clients that moved to pension phase in their superannuation, and obviously there was no tax deductibility benefit about having any ongoing advice fees in place, so we looked at the whole model. And so I actually invoice my clients across many different entities. So if they've got their super fund in place, or they're in their own names, or maybe they've got a company or a trust, we actually look at splitting up the advice costs across all the entities where our advice is actually being given.
Fantastic. So it is absolutely doable. And one of the things that I suggest too, particularly if advisors are doing cash flow modelling for clients, is to be able to demonstrate in their modelling when they're presenting their SOAs or their advice that the client can actually afford it.
Exactly.
So let's say I'm doing a comprehensive plan and there is some advice around super and retirement, and I'm providing advice on savings and maybe estate planning and perhaps getting insurances in place. How do I know what portions should go?
So I actually track, and I've been using the new FPA tool. I'm not just plugging the FPA, but we've got a new little tool out about pricing, and I've been using that, working out exactly how much time I spend on each avenue of that advice, and then I put the charging in according to the amount of time I'm spending on it. Not just my time, but actually the time of my entire practice. So if I've got someone ringing up from a client service perspective to get more information, I've got to price that into the advice that's being given as well.
So it doesn't mean you necessarily have to start taking timesheets, but part of a good pricing exercise when you're figuring out your pricing model is to get a really good understanding of the amount of time each person takes to provide advice. Now, sometimes fact finding, for example, like you can't say, well, I'm getting this many facts just on super and this many about everything else. But I think getting at least a rough rule of thumb that says, well, look, maybe it's 25% or 40% of this piece of advice is purely around super. So that's how much I will put to the super fund, and the rest we'll figure out how the client can afford to pay for it through other means.
Exactly. And don't forget that a client normally comes to you for a reason. So you might be scoping out the actual advice you're giving initially, but you're collecting a whole lot of other information about what is the client's about, who he is, what she is, what they're wanting to do, what their goals are. So you might be collecting a whole lot of information that might be not relevant to the actual scoped advice you're doing initially, but might be relevant to the relationship and the ongoing review that where you add extra value over time with the client. So sometimes you might have to discount at the very beginning what you're going to be offering at the very end, not substantially. It is still a cost to your business. You're not giving away things for free, but you actually understand that the real value of that is going to come down the track.
Yeah, for sure. So even if they're asking for scoped advice, it doesn't mean that you scope out your understanding of the client.
Exactly, very clearly.
Fantastic.
And that's going to be even more important under the new code of ethics that we're all going to be obliged to follow from the 1st of January next year.
Yes, lovely. Well, look, thank you very much, Marisa. I believe you've got a plane to catch.
I do.
That's another Moment with Sue.
That's wonderful. Thanks, Sue.